Good afternoon good morning and welcome to a pre-market review session for the market trader. Before we begin, we'll need to run through our risk disclosure. So let's take a look and open that up here. All right, here we go. All right, just want to remind everyone that the content that's being published and distributed by the market trader and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse any future company or fund. Use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. We all understand that future trading does carry a fair amount of risk. It's not for every investor. Investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital or money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or Forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. So now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure here, guys, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention to the news. So let's go ahead and do that. So taking a look at what news we have today. Well, we have we've already had some leadership speak. We have initial jobless claims. Looks like has come in a bit more positive. We have Fed Business Index. We have U.S. continued jobless claims. All came in a bit more positive than what was budgeted. Let's see. We have 10-year tips, high yield reporting, and then we have FedEx reporting some earnings here. What appears to be after the bell here. Okay, or after the session, I should say. Okay, so I guess the main news that would potentially impact the markets, I think, has already been reported. Okay, so that's good. That allows us to navigate the markets without anticipation of some sort of news event that could add some volatility here. Okay, so all right, so let's go ahead now, and now that we have a view of the news, I'm kind of looking into tomorrow. Not really not seeing much in the way of news that could impact the markets or that could cause the markets to kind of wait for the news. So we'll go ahead now and take a look at morning, Simon. Morning, Aslan. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the portal here, not portal, but the platform here, and start to take a look at the charts and see what the charts have to say here. So give me a second here to load my platform, and we'll go ahead and do that. Okay. All right. So let's move this up here, and we'll go ahead and start. All right. So we're going to turn our attention to the charting platform. There it is. All right, so here we are. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start with the gold market since the market is already open. See initial balance. We got Tokyo set up here. Let's go ahead and start off with the daily chart, guys. So we had a little bit of looks like an open that was lower. I don't know if this is a result of some sort of rollover. Okay, so in any case, we have a little bit of a gap here. I don't know. Maybe this is a result of some sort of rollover, but in any case, we're still kind of hovering right above the 9 EMA in some structure here that continues to be bullish. Now, over the course of yesterday, certainly we had, as a result of the interest rate decision, a little bit of a sell-off, I guess, in the gold market. Right now, looking at the daily chart, we are developing a little bit of a daily of a bullish candle here up against the level that I would expect to be somewhat supportive. Okay, so let's take a look now at the 4-hour chart, and let's see what the 4-hour chart has to say. So we've been in some sort of range. You can see here we're in some sort of range here. Okay, so over the course of, say, since Tuesday, right, we've seen a lot of overlap in price. Okay, not really giving us a whole lot of direction as to where they want to take this market. We had during the overnight, during London, we had I would say a rather strong bullish candle here, and we're following that candle up. We're following that candle up with another not quite bullish, but certainly on the upper end of this candle, indicating there's still a fair amount of strength in this current move of this candle here, right? So we haven't really consumed more than 50% of this candle, and the candle remains up on the upper end of the prior candle here. Okay, so fair amount of interest here, I would say, in the market. I would say at the moment, I'm going to go ahead and modify my visible range volume profile so that my point of control is not black but red. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so there's our point of control. We got a reaction of the away from the point of control, away from an area of prior support. All right, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the 30-minute chart. Let's get a sense for where price is in relation to yesterday's price action here. So we'll start off with a fixed range volume profile. We'll let's see. So today being Thursday, we're going to go ahead and select carry that across here. All right, so there we are. So kind of we're in some sort of area of balance. You can see that during the overnight that they did manage to drive price lower here during I guess maybe the tail end of Asia into London. We got into London, and we managed to rally. Now price currently is above our VWAP, above our 9 EMA, but it has not made any sort of new high here. Okay, so right now I would say that in order to continue this bullish trend, okay, that we need to get above this 37.05 level. Okay, if we are able to do that, then that would kind of continue to sustain this structure that we're seeing right now, this bullish kind of structure in this market. I'm going to go ahead and take a peek here at ADR. I see that there's still enough room here to the upside in this market without running into any sort of significant resistance. Okay, so let's see. Next thing I wanted to do here is I wanted to open up the initial balance across the various markets here. We're going to go ahead and start off with Asia. All right, so Asia, you can see that the market, at least at the tail end of the market, well, for most of the market, was kind of ranging. As we got closer to the London market, we sold off here a bit, right? Again, we get a nice 200% extension from the initial balance range. We've got a couple of breaks here below. We got one break and only to come back inside the initial balance. The second break gave us maybe a potential opportunity here to take a nice initial balance extension trade down to the 200% extension. All right, so looking at the let's see, take a look and see what London had to say about this. So opening up London. All right, so you can see that we've extended here to the upside. We're up against an area I would say that is relatively important if we are going to indeed maintain this kind of what we're seeing bullish structure of late. I am seeing that we are maybe developing a little bit of a range kind of price action. The fact that we are developing a bearish candle here is a bit ominous here, right? I'm assuming that we can we do indeed close below the 9 EMA. This could lead us to further range, or maybe some sort of initiative move here to the downside. Now, as long as price remains above, and again, it's kind of working its way below, but if it remains above the 9 EMA and remains above, say, this initial balance that we've established here in London, maybe there's still some more room. I see that there's still more room here to the upside. But the fact that we are getting a bearish candle here at the moment leads me to so leads me to believe that maybe we will come back. Okay, an important area for me would be the top end of this initial balance high from London. assuming that we can hold that level, maybe that gives us maybe an area where we can maybe potentially take price higher. If we close back inside this range, then it opens up the door maybe for price to rotate all the way down to the lows here at 3670, which is also the ADR zone. Okay, you can see here we got a nice reversal during the overnight trading at ADR low. Okay, so I would say at the moment there's probably a fair number of participants that are in this market to the bullish side. Okay, the question for us is, where do we participate? And I would say that I think we would probably be best served in waiting for price to come back down to a level where we can manage our risk. Okay, so this level down here around 36.92, maybe the top end of the initial balance range from London would be some areas to focus in on. Okay, all right. Let's see if there's anything else that I want to call out here in this market. We're going to go ahead and move to the regular trading session now, as far as the initial balance goes, and take a peek here what developing initial balance we have here. Okay, so relatively small initial balance range, relatively narrow. So that's going to give us maybe an opportunity where we do, where we do maybe get some sort of initiative move, right? The longer we can stay in this kind of range, the greater the likelihood that we could potentially extend the range. Okay, so again, I'm going to be using this 9 EMA as kind of a guide to see maybe if this remains above the 9 EMA, even though we are developing a bearish candle. This feels like a little bit of a flag pattern in an otherwise move that hasn't really quite, I don't think it, well, actually we did break above, we did close above this area of structure, but I do see that we are in some sort of bearish structure here at the moment. So we'll have to see how this plays out. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be waiting for some sort of candle to indicate to me which direction that they want to take the market. And if it's able to hold below or above that, then that's going to be kind of the direction I'm headed. Right now, I don't know. Looking at this structure, I would say that the market is still, at least on the shorter term, if I'm looking at this kind of maybe taking a step back, I do see that we are in a little bit of bearish structure here. So again, I'm kind of inclined here to kind of draw a little bit of a channel along these kind of lines, right? Okay. And that would tell me that I'm still in some sort of bearish structure here. Now, assuming that we are able to break above that upper end of the channel and hold, that could maybe open up the door for maybe price to continue higher. But right now, I feel like I'm just going to adjust this here a little bit, okay, to capture as many of these candles as I can. Okay. I'm still feeling that we're still inside some sort of bearish structure, and I have to be sensitive to the fact that there is a possibility that we during the New York session that we could potentially falter here. Okay, I need price to get above this channel and break the channel to the upside before I'm willing necessarily to embrace longs here. Okay, all right, let's go ahead now and take a look at the crude oil market. Crude oil market has been kind of an interesting market of late. Difficult, I would say, a difficult market to read as to direction. So let's take a look here at the daily chart, and you can see the reason I'm not really super excited by this market here. Okay, you can see that price has been kind of overlapping, right? With a lot of overlapping price. We've struggled to get above 66, 65, 72. And have not been able to make any consistent inroads below 61, 62. All right. Over the last, over the last month, okay, we've been inside this range, right? A lot of overlapping price. Okay. Right now, I would say that, again, we remain in some sort of consolidation range, not really giving me much in the way of indication. If I had to err on one side based on these candles, based on the most recent structure, maybe this is we're in a leg higher, but in order to really embrace that, we need to get above 65.56. All right, let's take a look at the 4-hour and see if the 4-hour gives us a little bit more insight here. So we see that we're developing a bullish candle here, a bullish candle on a anchored VWAP that I draw back here. So we're going to go ahead and remove that for now. Okay. So you can see that that price is overlapping or above and below our VWAP and 9 EMA. Again, not really giving us any sort of indication. Again, giving us, if any indication we're getting here is that the market is in some sort of range, some sort of balance, right? Really not any sort of aggressive buying or selling coming in at the moment, outside of the fact that we have a developing bullish candle here, right? Developed bullish candle. If we do indeed close with this kind of strength, right, this could potentially lead to a leg higher, right? That's certainly within the possibility here. So the last time we had kind of this kind of strength of candle, we had a little bit of a push higher in the market. All right, so let's go ahead now and take a look. Would I say I'm in a downtrend? Let's see. I would say right now, I would say that we're in range. I would say that we're in range. Okay. I mean, I guess you can make a case here that this swing here is still in control. But if I'm looking at this kind of from a macro view, I feel like we're in some sort of consolidation range. Maybe, I mean, if you had to say bearish, I would be okay with that. But I do see that right now we are in some sort of bullish channel here to the upside, and we're reacting at the bottom end of the channel, right? Yeah, I would say I think that's a fair statement, Aslan. I think this is the kind of price action that you take a peek and maybe look and move on to look at some other market, right? Because you can see here there's really no direction, right? We have gotten to a highs of close to 66 and gotten to the lows of 61 and a half, but have not been able to make. Now, is this can you trade these levels? Certainly, but I would say that it demands us to be more particular about waiting for extremes. And right now we're not in an extreme. We're kind of in the middle of the muck here, middle of the range, right? So I would say difficult to understand exactly what direction the market is going. But I again, looking at this channel, I would say that right now we are headed higher and maybe a structure that still remains somewhat bearish. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute chart. We're going to go ahead and remove some of our drawings here. We're going to take a look and see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action here. We had EIAs. We had EIA yesterday. That I believe caused the market to falter here. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the fixed range volume profile, and we're going to take a look at start of yesterday's session to today, and you can see that we're still below value. Still an indication that there's still sellers present in this market, right? So this would be kind of a feather in the cap of the bears, right? As long as we stay below value, right? There's interest in this market to the downside. Okay, we need to begin to break some structure here to the downside. We've created a little bit of a 3-bar reversal pattern away from this value area low, which is again a feather in the cap of the bears here. Okay, now the next thing, the next set of things that we would like to see, if we are indeed going to move into a swing lower, we would like to see price get below the 9 EMA, below the VWAP, and continue to make its advance down to 63. Okay, that would be the logical level, and if this is going to be a initiative move, then we would like to see price break and hold below 63. Okay, but I do see how you could make a case here that maybe we are still inside some bearish structure. Price is below value. All right, so let's take a look and see how the market. So kind of looking at this from a lens of initial balance. So we're going to go ahead and take a look and see what Tokyo was able to do with this market. All right, so looking at Tokyo, we're going to turn this on here. So Tokyo session, a little bit, I guess, mixed. You can see, right? Tokyo wasn't really able to do much with this market, right? So they attempted to go lower. They brought price back. They tried another attempt to go lower, only to be met with some buyers. So there seems to be some interest on the buy side. Let me take a look here at the London session and see what the London was able to do with the initial balance range. So you can see here London. Okay, so London was able. We got a failed auction to the upside, came back and found some buyers. Now we have breaks of initial balance on both ends. So then again, that's kind of an indication of that we are in some sort of range kind of price action. We exceeded the range. We exceeded the range pre-market, and now we are working on the 9 EMA and the VWAP here. We're kind of working our way to maybe potentially closing below our 9 EMA, which is kind of our maybe second indication that maybe we might be in the store for maybe a swing lower. The next level that I think I would be paying attention to, yeah, it looks like a little bit of a chop suey day. Yeah. The next level that I would be paying attention to, yeah. No, so failed auction is really only happens once, right? So Simon, so if this is a failed auction, then we don't get breaks on both sides, right? We get a break, a failed auction, and it stays in that direction. So we've gotten a break in that direction. We've gotten a price to traverse through the entire range, and now we're back where we started the failed auction. So as a result, well, I mean, again, breaking both directions is more of an indication of range than it is necessarily of a sustained move in one direction. Failed auction is a sustained move in the opposite direction of the move, right? We got that right all the way to the other side of initial balance, but now we're back in reversing back the other way, right? So that's more of an indication of range than any sort of sustained auction, whether it's failed or sustained. Okay. All right. All right. So right now we're up against the VWAP. I would say that right now we are still inside some bearish structure here. Even though we've received an extension here to the bull side, we've gotten our 3-bar reversal away from the value area low. If we do get a close below the 9 EMA and maybe a close below the VWAP into this, maybe we get another leg. Looking at the volume here, we're getting a fair amount of interest, right? We're getting about 3,000 orders to the sell side. Is price moving in alignment with volume? I would say yes. Okay, at the moment. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead now and let's see. Take a look here. So before I kind of move into the equity markets, let's just kind of remind everyone to encourage me to continue to do these analysis on a regular basis. To hit the likes. If you're not already a subscriber, to go ahead and subscribe. Leave me a comment or two in the portal would also be welcomed as well. Okay. All right. Now that I've gone through this, we're just going to take a peek here. Since we already are in the open of the U.S. session, we'll go ahead and take a peek here of U.S. So you see that we're developing a rather bearish candle here. Okay. So yes, I think yes, like. Right. So I would encourage you again. I think right now, the operative path, or I guess the path, is still to the bearish side. Me personally, I'm going to see if I can get some sort of extension away from this initial balance, and that maybe could trigger me into some sort of trade. But yes, I think heading into the market, yes. Heading into the market, I would say that being bearish is probably the right direction. Okay. All right. Now that I've gotten a little bit more in the way of, we'll go ahead and move on to take a look at the equity markets here. So just going to expand this. We'll take a look at the NASDAQ here. All right. Oops, that's not what, I don't know what that was. Okay. Here's the NASDAQ. We'll take a look at the daily. So you can see here, we got a little bit of a rally. We filled in the gap. We filled in the gap with this candle as part of rollover. Okay. And now we're developing yet another candle here to the upside. Okay. So again, we're firmly above the 9 EMA. Okay. Giving us an indication that there's still some interest in this market. Now, the fact that we reduced interest rates by a quarter basis point obviously serves as a bit of a catalyst to the equity markets. Okay, so daily still indicating to me that we are in some sort of bullish momentum, bullish trade here. Okay, bullish trend, I should say. So let's take a look now at the 4-hour chart. Well, let's take a look at the 4-hour chart and see what the 4-hour chart is telling us. We're going to go ahead and turn off initial balance here for a moment. Okay, so looking at this again, you can see that we are again firmly above. I think this was the result of the interest rate statement. Did we hit all-time highs? We may have, but I don't think we held it. I don't think we held it. Okay. So difficult, I would say, obviously, to kind of short a market that's, creating or booking all-time highs, right? But we have here, again, as a result of the interest rate decision, you can see that we got a nice buying wick, right? And now we've been kind of steadily on a climb ever since. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see if we continue to hold the 9 EMA as well as the VWAP. We can see that we're up on the upper end of this visible range volume profile. So that's kind of indicating to us that we are in some sort of trend. And I would say that that trend right now remains bullish. All right, so let's take a look now at the 30-minute chart. Looking at the 30-minute chart, starting again to see maybe some indications here. We're seeing price below our 9 EMA and kind of trying to see if we can get below the VWAP here. I'm kind of inclined here to draw a little bit of a channel here. So again, this is going to be kind of a little bit of a measure for me to see if we are indeed able to hold above that lower line of the bullish channel. That will be, I guess, one indication if we are indeed remaining in this kind of bullish structure, because we are seeing that price did manage to close below, right, our 9 EMA here on the shorter time frame, and now we're kind of reacting away from our VWAP. All right, so let's take a look at our fixed range volume profile. Let's compare price action, right, with what we're seeing. Let's compare price to where location wise to yesterday's trading. Okay, so looking at this, you can see that we're well above value, right? So indicating that there is a fair amount of interest here to the upside remains in this market. This value area high also happens to be the point of control here. So this area down below, if should price come down to this level around 24,521, my expectation is that that level could be supportive, right? That's the prior area of value, right? So this is kind of, if I'm bullish, this would be kind of considered a little bit of a discounted price to participate in a move to the upside. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at our initial balance across the various markets here. We'll start off with, let's see, Asia. Okay, so we'll start off with the Asia session and take a look and see what Asia had to offer here. So you can see that Asia offered us, a nice extension to the upside, real nice extension here to the upside. Very narrow range, reached the 200% extension, came back to retest, which happens often, guys. We come back, retest the same area, and it offered us yet another area of to support a long. Okay, so now that we've gotten maybe a little bit of structure here to the upside, I'm going to go ahead and draw maybe another area of interest for me based on our recent break of price here. What was resistance becomes support. So I would say this area around 24,650 could be a supportive area in this market. All right. What was resistance is now becoming support. Okay. So this is kind of what I'm kind of looking at now based on the 30-minute chart. Okay. All right. So let's take a look now at see what London was able to do with this market, but I suspect it was also higher. Let's take a look. So yeah, London also broke to the upside. Okay, now we're coming back and testing what I had marked over here, and also happens to be the high end of value here, initial balance high. So if we are going to maintain this kind of bullish posture, this would be a logical area, one of the logical areas for price to reverse away from. Okay, if we do manage to close back inside value, then I think that we are destined to rotate all the way down to this area over here, okay, to the edge of initial balance down at this 24,620 level. So we'll have to see. We'll have to remain patient here. And yes, nice 200% extension in both markets, right? In both Asia and London. Okay. All right. See. So we're still a ways away from the initial balance. So I think headed into the market, okay, I think right now what it appears to me is that I need to locate levels maybe to participate in maybe a potential bullish trade in the market. I understand that we've gotten a little bit of a pullback in pre-market, but it will be interesting to see how we react around this 24,650 level. If we continue to react, we have some buying wick. Maybe if we can get a bullish engulfing candle here, that would be evidence enough for us to maybe entertain maybe a continuation move to the upside. If we manage to close back inside initial balance, I think we come back and maybe explore some of these level below. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely markets that provide some good trades in both Asia and London, no doubt. Okay. So as long as I remain inside this bullish channel, I would say that my view on this market still remains on the bullish side. Even though we are below the 9 EMA, we are still above the VWAP here. I'm going to go ahead, and I haven't done this in some time, but I will do this now. I'm going to see if I can maybe do a little bit of an anchored VWAP here for the start of London. So back here somewhere. Okay, so you can see here that we did manage to close below the anchored VWAP here, but we're getting some reaction away from VWAP. So we'll see if we do get some sort of reversal, 3-bar reversal pattern here in this market. This would be a logical place to have it if we are going to have it, especially since we are working with the initial balance range for London. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the S&P. All right, kind of on the same kind of lens here, looking at the daily chart, you can see that we still have a fair amount of strength here to the upside. We fill the gap. We fill the price gap here. Fill the price gap, I think, that was created as part of rollover. We're developing a bullish candle. I can't say that I'm a super fan of this kind of wick to the upside, but nonetheless, we are seeing the candle still remain bullish. Okay, but maybe there is some resistance above here. Okay, so let's take a look now at the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, you can see kind of a little bit of a mixed bag. We're seeing we got a bullish candle to break some structure here to the upside, only to be met with some sellers. Very common, actually, right? We bait a bunch of longs into the market, only to drive the market in the opposite direction. I don't know about you guys, but I've been down that path before in these markets. Okay, so the moment I think it's going to go to the moon, it comes back and says maybe not right now. Okay, all right. So a little bit of a mixed bag here. We've broken some structure here to the upside, but when I break structure to the upside and with some momentum, I expect participants to add to positions and continue to drive price higher. Instead, we got a bearish candle, and we're developing a bearish candle in the opposite direction. Okay, yeah, I think that's very common in the crude oil. Correct. Okay, all right. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart here. We're going to take a peek here. We're seeing a similar kind of price action that we were seeing in the NASDAQ. We're going to go ahead and open up the fixed range volume profile here, get a sense for where price is in relation to today's price action here. So we're going to drag this across, and you can see here that we remain above value. Okay, so this is going to be, again, another area of interest for me, bullish, to be potentially bullish, right? 66.72 would be a logical area. Okay, let's take a look at the initial balance ranges. Okay, so this most recent one at London actually managed to get through, right? Unlike NASDAQ, right? We were kind of reacting on the highs here. ES has already traversed through the entire range of initial balance here. Okay, and now reacting off this little area of demand. Okay, so again, it's going to be important for me, right, in order to remain kind of bullish, even though we're getting some price action to indicate that maybe we are maybe looking a little bit bearish. This remaining above value is going to be important for me. Okay, so in order to maintain this structure here to the upside, in order to remain my interest in bullish trades, we need to remain above this value area high that we created from yesterday. Okay, all right. So let's take a quick peek at Asia before we move into the Dow, and then one final pass across all the markets. Okay, so nice extension. Okay, at the tail end of well, this is like 400% extension here, guys, during London. Okay, maybe part of London and into Asia here. Okay, nice extension here to the upside. Very narrow range, very narrow initial balance range that was developed, and then we got a nice extension here in the market. Okay, now we've come back to the same level, right? The source of the extension. So the question is, do we still have the same buyers? Do we still have the same buyers that drove price up to this level? Are they grinding price down to this level to add to their positions for maybe an additional swing higher? We'll have to wait and see as the session progresses today. But that's kind of what at least the initial indication I'm getting. Okay, let's take a look now at the Dow. Yesterday, the Dow seemed to be the strongest when we were looking at it yesterday. Now we're seeing a little bit of weakness here up at the highs. Here we're getting a ominous rejection candle here, developing ominous rejection candle here up at the highs, kind of a reverse hammer pattern or whatever. We have very, very small wick and a strong selling wick above. Okay, in structure that continues to show strength. Okay, but really not a whole lot of participation going on here, right? It's kind of neutral with respect to volume. Looking at the ADX indicator, again, positive indicator still above. We're still seeing some strong momentum in this market. Okay, so if I'm going to err on one side, it'd have to be bullish, but I don't necessarily have to participate at the highs, right? I can wait for maybe some levels below me, maybe some sort of retracement before I participate in anything. Okay, taking a look at this 4-hour chart, you can see that we're developing. Again, that's kind of the cause for the selling wick that we were seeing. We're seeing maybe a little bit of an uptick on the negative DI here as a result of the this bearish engulfing candle. We see that we're getting some volume coming into this market on the bearish side, about 2,000 contracts more on the bearish side than the buy side. We're starting to see price, working its way below VWAP, working its way below this 9 EMA. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see if we are able to sustain that. But right now, again, I'm more of the mode of kind of buying the dip kind of mode here at this point. But nonetheless, I cannot ignore the fact that I am seeing some bearish price action. And if this candle does close as bearish as it's currently, then that could potentially lead to maybe a leg lower, maybe to 46,000, 46,025 would not be out of the realm of possibilities here. All right, so let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. And again, you can see that we're starting to develop a little bit in the way of some bearish structure here. We have a series of bearish candles. We're coming into an area of demand. You can see now the negative DI has kind of exceeded our positive DI, and the momentum doesn't seem to be stalling. That maybe we are picking up a little bit of momentum here, especially on the shorter time frame, maybe continuation move here to the downside. Okay, let's take a look at the so we have initially a break above in London. Okay, that reached, I don't know, somewhere maybe the 300% extension of the initial range, which would have made up for a very nice long trade. Looking at Asia. Okay, looking at Asia. Oh, that was Asia. Okay, let's take a look at London. London doesn't seem to be as bullish. Okay, we got a little bit of a extension up to the 100% extension, and now we seem to have a fair number of participants to the bearish side. We managed to close back inside initial balance and picked up some momentum to the downside. So out of the three markets, again, the Dow seems to be leading the charge here to the downside. Okay, at the moment, at least on the shorter time frame. Okay. Let's go ahead and now take one final look at across all the markets here. So we're looking at the gold here. The gold has been a little bit of a range. We saw some price action that would indicate that maybe we were headed lower. We came into London and it rallied, but now price has not only closed below our 9 EMA, it's looking to close below our VWAP and closing back inside initial balance. Okay, So this is maybe beginning to look like maybe a little bit of a failed auction. Okay, a little bit of a failed auction to the downside. Assuming we can get a 30-minute candle, certainly that opens up that possibility. We're seeing our ADR indicator make its way above, but the momentum in that direction right now doesn't seem to be all that strong. Okay, the ADM momentum indicator is starting to curl. We have the negative DI, which is the bearish indicator, kind of swing to the upside here. Okay, so a little bit of bearish price action. I think I think we had noted that we had reacted away from some levels here. I think this is probably more the crude oil market, but we did come back inside value only to meet some sellers in this market. So I would say that headed into the session, I'm going to be looking maybe for a little bit of a swing to the downside before we see any sort of reversal higher. Okay, looking at the crude oil market. Okay, crude oil market again has been in some sort of range. You can see that we've reacted away from this value area from yesterday. We are reacting from, let's see, this is the London session, if I'm not mistaken. We are reacting a little bit away from the initial balance high here. Still, quite a bit of volume coming in on the bearish side. I'm going to go ahead and open up the regular session and kind of track the regular session and see what kind of initial balance we're developing here. Okay, so we have again a rather narrow initial balance range. Price is below. I would say that my view continues to be more on the short side, unless we are able to make a new high, at which point maybe I might change my view. But right now, as long as we continue to hold below value area low, I would say that the path of least resistance is lower. Okay, looking at the one final look at the equity markets. So looking at the equity markets, again, we are in some sort of bullish channel here. Obviously looking a bit stronger than what we were seeing and witnessing in the Dow. Okay, so looking at the 30-minute chart, we remain in a bullish channel up against the VWAP. If we are going to maintain this kind of bullish structure, which is my kind of expectation, the expectation is we would get maybe some sort of candle here to indicate that we are indeed going to continue higher, maybe some sort of bullish engulfing up against this area of prior resistance. Would not be out of the realm of possibility. You see that the volume that's coming in to the short side is beginning to wane here a little bit. All right, so indicating that maybe we are getting a little bit in the way of buyers maybe potentially stepping into this market. So I would say that heading into the NASDAQ, as much as it pains me to say this, I would say that maybe looking for opportunities to the bullish side might not be a bad call here. Okay, all right. Looking at the ES, again, similar kind of look and feel. We are, again, above our value area here. Okay, so this area is going to be relatively important if I'm going to continue to maintain my bearish stance on this market. I do not want to see price close below this area, and honestly, I need to see some sort of reversal pattern before I'm willing to entertain any sort of longs in this market. Okay, right now we are coming into an area of demand, so the expectation is that we could, if we're going to reverse from one area, this would be a logical area. If not, we could rotate all the way down to sort of the beginnings of our interest rate decision here. Okay, that would not be out of the realm of possibility. So again, I would say that I'm going to be watching how price reacts around value area high, and then also take a look at the initial balance range, and from there decide on which direction I want to take this market. Okay, and then ultimately the Dow, I think we've already kind of touched on recently. Again, seeing the same kind of thing here. I'm going to go ahead and open up my fixed range volume profile here and see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action, but I suspect it's in relatively the same location here. We actually managed to get back inside area of value. So to some degree, higher prices have been to somewhat rejected. Okay, that price has come back inside the value. So I would say that this target would be 46,295, would not be out of the realm of possibility here. that would be a logical place maybe to entertain. But the further I get into this area, the greater the likelihood I'm going to break and maybe continue lower. So if I'm a buyer of this market, I'd like the market to, begin to show signs of some sort of reversal here. We're seeing some buying, but we're seeing also some momentum coming in to the downside with maybe a little bit of waning volume here. Okay, so we'll have to see how this plays out in the markets today. But I would say across the board, I would say that certainly we're seeing certainly some maybe some bearish action both in the gold and the crude oil. I would say that maybe looking for some opportunities here, maybe to participate to the long side, even though we are getting some price action in to the downside. I do see some momentum here on the higher time frames that would align with that. But I think we need to remain patient, wait for our levels, wait for our confirmations, wait for our price candles to kind of indicate that maybe there might be an opportunity. Otherwise, we need to continue to go with the trend, right? And looking at the shorter time frame, then maybe we can look at maybe some pullbacks to the VWAP or the EMA, especially in the Dow, because it does appear to be the weakest of the three equity markets. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I think that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. So trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader, guys. So again, don't hesitate to hit the likes, the subscribes. Give me a comment or two on the portal on how this analysis is supporting your analysis and review of the markets. And until next time, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have an excellent day trading, guys, and we'll talk again tomorrow.